All right, well, welcome to week 15 of SATCO Leadership Institute training. What we're doing, guys, is we're getting deeper and deeper into the real world aspects of being a sales manager and sales supervisor, right? Where the rubber meets the road. And as we're starting to discover, our role is very, very important in driving sales, keeping people focused, keeping people motivated, and just being the good managers that we know that, that we can be. Today we're going to talk about the daily checklist to make sure that everybody is using that and they're comfortable with it. We're going to talk a little bit about the weekly one-on-one performance improvement meeting, and we're going to discuss our homework, and then we're going to assign homework. How's that sound for a... All right, here we go. All right, it all starts with leadership. What do I mean by that, Doug?
Leadership. Look behind you, see if there's anybody there.
There you go. You know, that's how you got to do. All right, the checklist, right? We want all the supervisors and all the managers to work with a checklist. And the reason for that is that it is composed of those things that are the most important things that you can do on a daily basis. Right? There's a lot of things you can do as a manager, right? But those are the things that will make you famous, rich, and money, right? By doing those things. So we always start with ourselves, right? Because leadership comes from where?
Within.
Right. And then we talk about high priority task identified, right? Remember the quadrant, the time quadrant we drew up on the board? Where do you want to be? Quadrant 2 gets you all the stuff you need done in quadrant 1, right? Okay. So daily success plan, right? If you don't have a plan every single day, Callie, how can you expect to know if you achieve the goals that you wanted? Because you don't have any goals, right? How do you know you've been successful that day?
You don't.
Right? And they've done studies. These big companies have done these studies where they implemented a goal setting on a daily basis, and the teams that did the goal setting on a daily basis performed at a much higher level, like 30% higher than comparable teams that weren't setting goals. So that shows you the power of goal setting, right? So that needs to be important. At the start of each shift, right, what we want to do is very quickly check in. Callie, how you doing today? What do you think you're going to do today? What did you do yesterday? What are you going to do in terms of video sales? What are you going to do in terms of internet? What's your plan today? Just check in real quickly and make sure that they've got a plan. And it's always good if you have a plan to say, you know what, I expect my team to do 50 video sales today. And
The exact keys are in your daily supervisor timeline.
so we need 50 video sales today. And Callie, what do you think your contribution is going to be?
10.
10. Awesome. That's great. All right.
Give me a realistic goal.
I believe it. I believe it.
Leave me alone. And then we want to monitor each agent on at least one call during the shift, providing coaching, counseling, and feedback.
Yes.
Jason, why is this absolutely so critical?
It's very critical because even your top performing agents, you're still going to find things they can fix, but you need to let everybody know that you are monitoring them and you are listening and you're giving them expectations, because when you walk around, even if you're not monitoring, they're going to think that you are. And it's going to keep everybody on their toes. They shouldn't have to be on their toes. They should be doing it anyways, but it's not a perfect world. So, I mean, like, I monitored her and she didn't even know the other day. She's like, oh, you're monitoring them on Latasha and Darren, like each one of them. And I went afterwards and I talked to them about what I heard and what was going on. You know, quick little 3-minute one-on-ones, and just they're looking at it like, oh, you were listening. You know, just it lets them know that you're listening, and you know, it just lets them know you're listening instead of just it just holds them accountable, even whenever you're just walking by them.
It's very powerful, right? And we know that expectations without inspection usually results in expectations not being kept, right? So you have to inspect what you expect, right? Say that after me. You got to inspect what you expect, right?
You gotta inspect what you expect.
Or it's not an expectation. It's just not. So if I expect Marco to do certain things and I don't inspect that, he'll do what he feels like he needs to do to be successful today. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with him thinking that way, except that's not what I want him to do, and that's a source of tension between him and I, because I didn't clearly set his expectations. Right? So I sit down with him, I'm going, hey, you didn't meet my expectations. He's going, first I heard of it, I thought I'd been doing a great job, you know. Based on the way he was going about it, he thought he was doing a great job. And you know what? We're not saying he wasn't doing a great job. He just wasn't doing what I was asking him to do. Right? You see what I'm saying? So it's really critical. It's absolutely important. Congratulate, encourage positive, confident behavior. I see this a lot here. I'm beginning to see you guys doing this more and more. You know, pat somebody in the back and say, man, that was good. I like that. Woohoo! Congratulations on that sale. Because it creates a positive environment, right? So you got a couple of dynamic things going, right? We're going to set goals so we know that we're going to be striving to achieve those goals, right? If you don't have any goals, you don't strive to achieve anything, right? What do you do today? I'm going to sit here for 8 hours and go home. You've accomplished your goal, sir. Excellent job. Well, yeah, just go home. We'll give you a shortcut. Just go home. Anyway, guys, so we're going to set their goals. And then we're going to monitor. And that monitoring is going to give us a whole bunch of positive things. For example, like Jason was talking about, their performance is going to be better because they think they may be monitored during the shift, right? Number two, it's going to give Jason or any of the other supervisors an opportunity to listen to certain aspects of the call and be able to dive in there and say, hey, Cal, you did a great job on the greeting, but you know what? I didn't hear a positioning statement in there. Or I didn't hear a rebuttal, a managing objection in there. I didn't hear it. And then you can talk about that, you know?
Like the other day, like when I was listening to Latasha, like she was selling AT&T, like, you know, Ubers, but she wasn't quite sure about what it cost today. And that's when I walked up to her and I was like, oh, it's nothing today. Like, just get the confirmation of it, get them to the installation department, and AT&T will take care of the rest of that. And she's like, what? I was like, you learned that. Where's your spreadsheet that I gave you? I gave her the letter.
There's a coding, it's on the coding sheet, it's on the cable install sheet,
Well,
there's a bunch of
just the fact
resources
a lot of people don't know that with AT&T, even if you get a credit card from them, it doesn't have to have any money on it. They just want that for their files. And she didn't know that. So that was a good coaching aspect. And she knows that from now on, so she can sell more of it.
Coaching is a wonderful opportunity. Coaching time is a wonderful opportunity to exchange very useful, powerful information that'll be helpful, right?
Yeah, the look on her face was like, really? I was
Yeah.
like, yes, here you go. You just now made $7 on your next check.
Yeah.
And you get decided to get extra.
If you're a good coach and you're making a difference in their performance, they'll listen to you and they'll love it, right? So anyway, now go to the next one here. Provide coaching and feedback for performance improvement, man. You got to do it, right? Here's the next one. Identify high priority tasks for the next day and prepare your daily success plan with actionable goals. So that gets you through the day, right? Jerry's got a timeline for everybody, but essentially this is what you do every single day. You get ready for your shift. You make sure you're personally ready. You're professionally ready. You go out there. You set goals with everybody on your team that align with your goals. You get them excited about going to work that day. You make sure everybody's attitude's good. And then what you do is you monitor that call. And monitoring that call gives you all the benefits we talked about. Personal time set aside to study products, processes, or skills. Why is this part of our checklist?
Well, it's, I mean, if you're not up on it, how can you expect anybody else to be? You know, you can't have
Yeah.
a subordinate or somebody who's relying on you to lead them if they know more than you. I mean, you know, for the most part, you gotta know your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to one of the leadership principles. That is,
Skill achieving.
You gotta know.
That's part of the success too. The formula for success is skill, goal achieving activities. Like
Yeah.
As I say.
well,
Bettering yourself.
well, I think that'd be in the skills bucket. You know.
One of the skills.
Yeah.
Skill sets.
Yeah, I think you're in the skills bucket, but yeah, absolutely. And here's the deal, right? One of the key principles of leadership is being knowledgeable, knowing your stuff, knowing. It's powerful. Leaders know, right? People turn to leaders because leaders know, right? Does that make sense? You got to have goals. We were talking about that, right? Your plan has to have goals. If you don't have goals, none of your folks are going to have goals. And, one of the things I want you guys to take out of this management class is part of your job every single day is to drive sales. Every single day.
Drive sales.
How do you know? Yeah. No babysit anybody, but drive sales. So how do you know you're driving sales? How do you know? You got to have a goal, right? And it really has to be in alignment with the company's goals and your manager's goals. So,
guys, I had a conversation with an old MCI buddy of mine that's is a director over at Progressive. We were just talking and sharing some stuff with him, trying to get some new ideas. And he told me that it didn't shock me because it's the way we did it at MCI. At Progressive, an agent is not allowed to ask the supervisor a question. The agent is supposed to find the information themselves, either know it or find it themselves. The supervisor is not there for agent product knowledge. The supervisor there is to manage the productivity of the team. Okay? So, if some of you that were on my night team, you know that's the way I did it. I would never tell you the answer. I'll show you where to get it. Because if you tell them the answer, they'll just keep asking.
Yeah, it's a fishing thing.
They'll just keep asking.
They don't learn it.
my dad used to make me look it up when I asked him a question. He said, you go look it up. And for years I thought it was exercise designed to make me better. When I got older, I realized he didn't know. All right. You cannot expect your agents to have goals if you don't, can you?
That's right.
All right. And your agents need to know what your goals are and how they fit in your plan. And you got to have a plan. You have to have a plan, a daily plan. And you know what? It can be the same plan every day. You can have the same stinking plan every single day. But I'd like for you to go through the process of, here are my goals. How am I going to get there today?
Doing the exercise of setting the plan, even if it's the same one from the day before.
Yeah.
It's part of your routine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're planning, your folks are planning, right? And I say to Jason, what's your team going to do today, buddy? I don't know. I hope they do really good today.
Hopefully they'll do.
Man, I'm hoping for sales today, right? No, we're going to do 50 video sales today, and we're going to do 80 internet sales today. That's what we're going to do today. Who's going to do it? Okay. No, you got to dig. You got to dig down, get some details, and figure out. Callie's going to do 10.
Well, she got 9.
Lindsay's going to do 10. Marco's going to do 10. Doug's going to do 10. And you get it up, and you realize it's over 50. You know what you do? Change your goals.
Yeah, ramp it
We
up.
did it last night. We hit 92, which is a real big deal for me. But we were at 65 at an hour, about 2.5 hours, 3 hours prior to when I usually have 65. I usually have 65 about 10 o'clock. So then I got excited because it's a big,
Did they set up your teams in HMI yet?
it's a real big deal for me
So
to
when
get
you
to
pull up
90.
HMI reports,
But I've never got to 100, so I really went on 100. I said, okay, guys, let's get to 80. You guys can get to 80. I don't care if it's a hold for payment. Let's get some accounts built. We got to 80. All right. I think I can do 90. So of course, I pull everybody together in one section, and we get 92.
Nice.
Nice.
So, well, it's
Yeah, that's
pretty
really
as
good.
freaking happy. And then Lynn was there, which is like, yay for me because I don't often get to see him, and if we can perform that well when he's here, then that's really good thing.
I remember
for
about
us.
7 months ago, Jerry, 300, we gotta get 300. Come on, drive it. Like 2 hours before the shift, we were like 260. He's like, no, we need 40 more.
But
And
it
he
was-
on me. He was like, calling me every 15 or 20 minutes. He was,
But I think I saw something interesting where people would usually kind of hang up. Oh, I'll call you back. Hell no. I would jump on and say, ma'am, I'll tell you, I can meet you halfway. Why don't we put a hold for payment on this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you monitor, if you condense and you get your circle tight, and you set a goal, and you yourself are right up their butt getting that goal, then you're probably.
that's what I think what you're talking about with driving, right? That's what driving is.
You gotta be right
staying
on.
on top of it.
And you have to
pushing
be
it.
willing to say, hey, give me that headset.
Yeah, Marco, that's a really good thing. I was monitoring Global yesterday. I mean, they're not here, but whatever. I want to hear what they're doing over there. And one of their closing tactics is I mean, they will not let them off the phone. First of all, the agents won't. But if they really have a hard time, let me get my manager real quick so he can help you out. And they got the manager on the phone to try to close the sale. And I think it's like what you were saying. Let me get on the phone and do it. That's something I'm going to start incorporating. Like, says, hey, let me get on the phone real quick. Because just that manager voice, just that person who's in control. Oh, for some reason.
It's a second voice of reason.
Yeah, and it's a form of a higher up. They feel special, and for some reason, you close sales like that. And if we can do that, that's better for the bottom line.
Do we not do that right now?
We try, but
I'm gonna do it from now. I've never done it before.
We haven't had the bandwidth to do it prior to this. I recommended that to Lynn. What, you know what it's called formally? The turnover strategy.
Turnover strategy.
Yeah.
It works.
It works in cars, it works in real estate, it works in resort sales, it works in a lot of different things. You know, you do the best you can, and then you get that higher authority close. You know,
you have to be very positive in your approach. I realize.
You do.
You're really super cool about it, man.
If we're going to start doing that, we'll have a class on it, and I can show you guys some stuff.
It really is good.
Okay, guys, consistently work your plan. Monitoring, coaching, counseling, and feedback are all a part of that. All right. Let's look at the weekly one-on-one performance improvement meeting. Let's go over that real quick, and then we're going to discuss our homework. Okay? Okay, we've set the concept that we do this on a daily basis. And every single day we come in and we set goals for that day. And you can do it by the hour, you can do it by the 15 minutes. There's a lot of different ways you can do it that makes it a little more interesting during the day. How many sales are you going to get in the first hour? How many sales are you going to get in the second hour? How many sales are you going to get in the third hour? And you can do that, right? You can have time frames. Hey, we're going to have a goal of getting 47 sales by 10 o'clock. Right? What do you know, so you can go around and say, what are you going to contribute to that? What are you going to contribute? What do you contribute? And that's another way of driving sales, right? But the concept is we do it every day, and then we constantly coach, and we're monitoring, and we're looking for opportunities to encourage people, right? That's on a daily basis. Then on a weekly basis, right, we have more data to look at, and you can sort of see a trend. It's a little difficult in the middle of a week to clearly see a trend. I mean, you can, but it's not a really clear trend because it might be a little blip up or a little blip down. But over 7 days, you see more of a trend, right? So at the end of a week, now what you do, instead of taking a minute or two with Callie in the morning, I'm going to take 12 to 13 minutes with her. And we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about the last 7 days, the last 30 days. We're going to talk about her annual goals to make sure that she's on track for her annual goals. And we're going to take a little more time and we're going to make sure that she has a success plan that will carry her for 7 days. 5 days or whatever that might be, for 7 days for a week, right? So if we sit down on a Monday and we do what we did last week on the video, at the end of that, you had a 4 or 5 step plan. And then we do that every single week. It might be the same plan, but at least you've had an opportunity to discuss it, to talk about what the pros and cons of it are, right? So we've got the daily plan we got to do, the daily coaching we do, and then this weekly thing. This is what we talked about last week. So make it all about improving sales performance of the individual in the company. It's all about that person. It's all about their performance. Should always be done belly to belly if possible. Why is that important, Callie?
Because it's more intimate, it makes it more relaxed, and you can actually get through to both of you. Can get something out of it.
Yeah.
Getting more out of it.
There's real communication going on
Yeah,
if you're
communication.
eyeball to eyeball. If you're doing it over the phone, right?
It's not personable.
You could be like out there.
Yeah.
It's like
You
trying to
can't
tell
touch
somebody.
someone and,
Yeah. Hip chat's not going to get a point
Yeah.
across instead of going to their shoulder and tapping them and like, oh, hey, second phone number and email address, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And you can point that all day long on email and hip chat, but when you actually look face to face and explain it,
Yeah.
it's more personable.
And that's why you
Yeah.
had us in the chairs,
Think of
like
the heart.
knee to knee. That's why Jerry set us up that way, because we were facing each other. I mean, you have their attention. Right?
It's an intimate moment, so to speak, right? It's an intimate moment in terms of building a relationship, right? Because I am busy as heck as a manager. I don't have time to do anything, right? But I'm going to sit down with you. Why? Because you're important to me. You're important to me. You're important to me. And I'm giving that time. And we're putting what?
Deposits in that emotion.
We're putting that emotional currency in that bank account, right? So keep the concept
Bless you.
of doing it on a daily basis,
And on a weekly basis.
but do it on a weekly basis and make sure you're consistent with that.
Okay.
and set the time up, right? And I don't like to take time away from the phones with anybody. I would prefer to do this stuff before a shift if I could, but if that is logistically not possible, if you have too many people that you're dealing with, you just got to do it. You know, just take 10 or 12 minutes out of their day. Even if you're busy, you got to take time out of the day because you'll get more bang for the buck. One of the things we're looking for here is attitude, right?
That's the number one thing you're looking for.
You're looking for attitude. If you got somebody going south on you, when's the best time to catch it?
Right before they go.
Yeah, right before they go south. All right, and keep the meeting short and upbeat. All right, the last thing you want to do is get berated for 13 minutes. You know? You know, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. You know, about 30 seconds of that stuff, and all of us check out. All right, we all check out, right? But if it's all about, if you trust me, and you trust me, right? And you know that I'm here for one reason only, what is it?
To make me do better.
Help you do better, right? If you trust me, and that's why I'm here, that opens up that communication. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Ask questions and be open to what the rep has to say. Remember the video from last week? 13 minutes. What do you think my time on speaking was?
You talked
Yeah,
about
very
2
low.
minutes.
Yeah, probably 25%, 30% maybe.
Just leading questions.
Yeah.
essentially.
So what does that mean with Callie's part? 70% of the time, she was diagnosing her own problem.
Yep.
And who are you going to believe? Right? We have a tendency to believe ourselves, right? You know, if Andrew comes in and starts telling me what my issues are, I'm not going to believe him. But if you ask me what the problems are and I come up with my own issues, I'm going to believe me, right? Does that make sense? All right. That's kind of funny, but the cool thing about that is people know what to do.
So just so we're clear, guys, on Mondays is when you're doing your formal one-on-ones that should take a long time. Tuesday through Friday, or Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is. These daily one-on-ones should be done in between calls. You're not pulling them off the phone. You're pulling a chair up next to them, kneeling down, just reviewing what they did yesterday, and move on. Don't give them more than 3 things to work on because they can't do it anyway.
That's right.
Top 3 things that you need them to do. And we're drawing up a long-term 13-week training plan. So when you guys train your people, because we need you to start managing your teams by the hour. If you have too many people on the phone and the calls ain't coming in, take a percentage of them and train them. We'll already have the modules ready for you. It'll be the same training all week. It might be, example, opening. This week, all week, we're working on openings. This week, all week, we're working on
Script or fab statements or
Whatever.
positioning
All
or
week.
closing
Not
or
gonna be any
handling
meetings.
objections or something.
Everyone's going to be doing the same thing. And when you do that, you'll see the numbers your numbers will be impacted.
Okay, so this is a combination, right? You got your daily activity, and then like Jerry said, you got a weekly activity, right? And what you do when you do the weekly, right? You've either already done the daily for that day, because it is totally different, right? It's basically, Doug, good to see you, man. We're pretty excited. We're going to do 90 of those doggone things today. You ready? You ready, buddy? What are you going to give me?
What am I going to give you? I'm going to give you 6 dish.
You gave me 6 yesterday, man. What are you going to give me today?
Okay, I'll go 7 today.
I'm gonna
7?
go all 90.
Okay.
Marco gave me 8 yesterday.
Well, Marco's
That's such a good tool.
Marco's better than you.
Could you match an 8?
I will give you 8 today.
All right. We're going to talk about how you're going to get to 8, right?
There you go.
Okay. That kind of stuff actually works. It works. It works. Right? I bid people up, you know. Hey, Marco says he's going to get $10,000 by Friday. What are you going to get? $25,000. Ah, Marco, you're going to get $25,000. What are you going to get? $35,000. You know, and that's why it works, right? Okay. Ask questions and be open to what the rep has to say. What is that word? Look at that word.
Open your ears.
Listen. Right? What do they say? 2 ears, 1 mouth? Right? God designed us already.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. The less you talk in these meetings, the more effective you will be. Right? You got to be an effective listener. When somebody's presenting something to you, you got to be a good listener. You're not checked out at all. You're right there. And Jerry and I teach a active listening skill class, And we're asking clarification questions. What I'm hearing you say, Callie, is you really need to work on your referrals. That's exactly right. Well, super, what does that look like? How hard a question is that, right? What does that look like? And you know what she does? She'll talk for 5 minutes. And then she'll say something in the middle, and I go, well, how would that look? Or what would that look like? Or how would that work? And, and the whole time is she's coaching herself. I'm just making sure she's on the sidewalk, Right?
Good luck.
Good luck, right? It's herding cats, man, but it's a skill set. But you keep them on the sidewalk, and eventually you get where you need to be, right? Does that make sense? Okay, always end the meeting on a positive note. How did I end our meeting last week with Callie?
Positive note.
I said I was very proud of her, and that I knew that she was going to go to the next level and do whatever she wanted to do. And she
gave specifically what he was proud of her about and what she needed to work on. Specifically.
Yeah. You can't be like, I'm really proud of you, Jason. You came to work today. You can't be that. It's got to be something a little more specific than that. Or it could be that.
I mean, we're out here.
Case by case basis, right?
It could be that. All right. Notes for the meeting. Provide recognition as appropriate. Right? Always look for ways to recognize people. Hey, Marco got 92 sales yesterday on his shift. Awesome. Give him a round of applause. Woo! What are you going to do today, brother?
100.
It is
What have you
possible.
done for me
It
lately,
is
right?
Friday, and I would love 100. And if I look, I can kind of predict. If we have about 38 right now, we have a good shot at 100. So
Forecasting.
No. We're Yoda when it comes to sales. No try. Do.
well, exactly.
Right? Right?
You're right.
So,
You're right.
you approach that. My goal is today, we're going to get 100.
I really want 100.
We're not going to try.
We're going to do
We're
it.
going to get 100.
That's right.
How are we going to get 100 today? How are we going to get 100 today?
By staying on top.
How are we going to, we're going to be driving sales, right?
One.
And then I would quickly go around and go, Callie, what are you going to give me today?
10.
Lindsay, what are you going to give me today?
12.
You gave me 14 yesterday, Lindsay. Hey, I got a 12 over here. What do you think?
I'm going to meet that 12.
All right, I got a 12. What are you going to do? You bid it up. You get everybody excited. You get everybody competing against each other, and all of a sudden the environment changes, and there's no room for the poor, pitiful me folks.
Only getting service calls.
That poor person who got that service call while everybody's getting one got that dish that he hadn't gotten all day until I said, "Come on, let's do this shit."
Yeah, turn it up.
Let's do this shit.
Go to a
Absolutely. All right, here we go.
When
Perform.
you guys, real quick, when you're recognizing agents in your team meetings, your daily team meetings, you're discussing the previous day's performance. There's nothing wrong with having some candy bars. And Marco, you got 10 sales yesterday. Here's a Snickers bar. Throw it at them. Make it dramatic.
Satisfied me.
You'll be surprised what they'll do for a pop and a candy bar.
This is recognition is what.
What's up, Dr. Pepper, sir?
We do
The soda water.
we do role playing the second week, and I've been dragging those medals out back there, those little medals, and I've been giving them. People have been wearing them and all sorts of stuff. Pretty good. All right. So performance review: previous week, 30-day, and year to date. Right? Just real quick. It didn't take long, right?
No.
Say, hey, last week at the same time you were here. This week you're here. You're up in this category. You're up in this category. What I see is you're not doing enough cross-selling. What are we going to do about that? Right? And then you go into that, and you go in that thing. But you're recognizing where they are. You say, hey, let's look at the 30-day. 30-day, really, you're looking up from where you were. So that's really excellent. Review and compare most recent 7-day to the previous 7-day, and off you go. Here, notes for the meeting. Assess their attitude. Look them in the eye. The last thing you want as a manager is for somebody to walk in and quit unexpectedly. It will absolutely blow you away. You think you got everything going good. Everything is rolling. The wheels are all lubed up. Everything's good. You got all in the engine. Somebody walks in at the you least expect and says, I'm leaving. And you go, why? Mostly because you don't give me attention. You're not very nice. Whatever. But that would be good to find out a lot earlier, right?
Very nice.
Right?
Guys, I would say if someone did that to you, you missed a bunch of clues before.
Yeah. But guys, listen to this for a second. Listen to this. Let's just try to have one conversation we could. Listen, that's what the daily conversation's for and the weekly conversations, right? So you're constantly checking in. And now weekly, man, you're really checking in. How do you think you're doing?
Good.
Yeah, great. Well, what does that look like? What does good look like? I always ask salespeople, what does good look like? You know?
On your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah. So what you're doing there is you get them involved with, right? Then you discuss strategies for improving sales performance. That's my phone, guys. Don't worry about it.
Don't be looking at me. Pay attention to the trainer.
And then what you do, guys, is you come up with strategies. And here's how I do it. And this is what I did with Callie last week. What do you think we need to do for you to improve your performance?
I need to sit in my seat and have a positive attitude.
Okay, so availability and make sure that you have a really positive attitude is really important. So let's put that down as part of our daily plan. Okay? I want to increase my, and you can get more specific. Well, your availability is about 75%. So what do you want to shoot for?
90.
95 or 92. What is it supposed to be?
82 is the
Oh, 82.
What?
18%.
So I'll go 85%.
Let's shoot for 85. Let's shoot for 85. Let's look at it today, tomorrow, and the next day, and we'll see where you are. We may adjust that up a little bit. Watch this, watch this, watch this. We may adjust that up a little bit as we go through the week, but we'll start it.
there.
We'll start there. See how I did that? Okay. So, all right. Discuss strategies for improving sales performance. Ask the agent. All right? Now, I've been doing this a long time. You've been doing this a long time. Doug knows. You guys know what the problem is, right? So it's tempting to walk up and say, you need to do this. You're not doing this. If you only did this, you'd be better, right? You know what happens when you do that?
That's withdrawing.
They turn off.
Yeah.
They turn off, right? So what do?
Bring it to them in the positive.
You get them engaged, and you say, Andrew, man, you're not exactly where you want to be, but I think we can get you there. So what do you think you need to do to get you where you want to be? And then shut up.
Generally improve as a human being.
All right? That may be more difficult than it sounds. And then what you do there is you herd that cat to make sure that they stay on the sidewalk,
Gets them to put it in their own words so that they're, like you said,
Yeah.
telling
They
you
take
what their
ownership for
problems are.
themselves.
They're taking ownership, they're making a commitment, they're involved with it. At the end of the day, Callie's plan was developed by who?
Herself.
Callie. And then I get her to commit to it. Are you committed to this plan? Do you give me permission to check in with you a couple of times this week and make doggone sure you're committed to this plan?
I begrudgingly said yes.
Yeah, right. You know, and you get permission from them to climb all over them, you know. Do you mind if I, stay in the driving seat for the rest of the week, and drive? All right. So review and revisit the weekly, monthly sales goals, and just make sure that you cover everything. Then off you go, and always end on a positive note. And I'm very proud of everybody in the class for being here today. Okay. Now, did we have a chance to conduct one-on-one meetings this week?
Oh boy.
It was pretty busy.
Lots of one-on-ones. For my bottom 5 especially. And I got some great news though on those same notes if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I do want to hear it.
I have some bottom 5 and I'm quite proud of these guys because they're no longer bottom 5 people.
We
Yeah,
noticed
they're
that.
all bottom 5 are on Jason's team.
I want to go ahead and get that list out there and go see if that's true.
Well, to be brief, I talked to these guys and said, hey man, what's going on? I didn't talk about anything. I said, just ask them what's going on. How do you feel about things? And just want them to talk about how they feel first before I say anything. And then I hear them out, and I tell them what I'm there to discuss. I say, so hey, I think we have some points we could really work on, and I believe I can really help you on this. Would you be willing to listen and take my advice? I said, oh yeah, of course. And we talk about it, and there's a nice exchange of communication there. And then there's long story short, at the end there's a commitment. Okay, if I commit, I want you to come to me every day at 8:30 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we're going to discuss these 2 points. And so far they've been coming up to me, and Blazer's a good one. Even Drake's coming up a bit. Bailey is one I talk about quite a bit because it took me a very long time to accomplish that. But it was a matter of consistency, and it worked. So, pretty proud of these guys. It does work.
Okay, a couple questions. If it works, we love that, right?
Right.
We love that, right? There's always good, better, best, right? We want to do best practices as much as we can, right? If it's good, it's good, but we want to make it better, then we want to make it best, right?
Correct.
Are you following some kind of schedule where they know they're having a meeting?
Absolutely. I mean, I can't I have about 16 guys, so some of them like Matt, Ferris, and Lee, they're going to do their own thing. But I have some, yeah, it's pretty much a daily thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it goes as much as a half hour, but this is at night. It's about 8:30 to 9:30 at night. We're typically pretty slow about that.
Okay, are you trying to follow the format that we're trying to teach here for the weekly?
Sure, but they have their own struggles, so I'm trying to focus on those particular issues. For instance, I mean, there's just many things. Right now, my thing is script. I need to get them on a script. That's my big thing right now.
Let me interrupt for a second. I hate to do that, but we're going to run out of time for this. I want to make a point here. It's a really important point, guys. We got different concepts going here, right? You got the daily checklist that we're talking about, where you just meet with them briefly and set a goal. Then you monitor the calls. Then you coach based on what you monitored, what you're working on for that week, right? But you always do it after you listen to the call, so it's really fresher and you have more to talk about, right?
Sure.
And that's the coaching part of it. And then once a week, you have this formal meeting. They're not the same thing.
Right.
This meeting is designed to do a couple of things. It's designed for you to make sure you do mid-course corrections with people, assess their attitude to make sure that they're doing everything they need to do, and then you put a plan together with them that they agree to take them to the next level. Right? So it is a totally different thing than a daily coaching thing.
Well, I also have team meetings that are every Wednesday at 1:30 and 2:30, so I'm addressing that whole team meeting thing as well. And I meet with my guys every day, so I like to think I'm covering my bases.
Okay, but I'm trying to make a point, and the point is they're different things that you're doing, right? Those are different concepts, right?
Correct.
There's what I want everybody to get is on a daily basis, when you look at the daily checklist, the first meeting you have with them is first thing in the morning, and you're setting goals for the day.
You're setting the tone of the day. That's what you're doing with the agent, your team, and yourself.
We're going to do 100. We're going to do 100 a day, right? Callie, what are you going to do? You did 10 yesterday. How about 11 today, right? And you set the goals, right? And then you come back and coach after you monitored, and you can coach at other times of the day too. But basically, if you monitor, you owe them a coaching session, right? That's what we're talking about. And then once a week, this thing we're talking about here is a different animal. It's not the same.
Okay.
It's designed to get you more traction with your salesperson and to make sure that you are covering the numbers with them on at least a weekly basis in a real positive way, and you're staying track of their 7-day, 30-day, and annual numbers, right? And they know that you're staying in track with them. It's a really important part of what we do. Anybody else have any experience doing a one-on-one this week?
What I've been doing with one-on-ones, actually, and I'm going to have to just be upfront honest, I've been doing as much as I should, and this meeting today, this class has hit that way, to be consistent with it, to set the expectation that every single day when I come in, because I started off doing that after the last meeting, after me and you had a conversation in the office about the timeline, and setting the goals, and said, today I want y'all to get this, what can you do? And they're like, yeah, they didn't like it so much, but too bad. That's what we expect from you. And I did it the next day as well, and they're a little more receptive to it, but I kind of dropped off, I stopped doing that. I need to be consistent with it, and then I've been doing my monitoring and coaching with them as well. One thing that I find that what came up yesterday with Doug is that we need to role play more. And that's something that I started to do at the beginning, like sit them down and go through a call with them and show them what I expect them to do. Like something as simple as filling out an entire lead in a Gemini. Too many people are just going straight to Axiom and start putting in information, and they don't have a social, a birthday, or a debit or credit card. And what if something happens and they don't have it? Now they got to ask them all over again. It's just simple little things like that to get them on the same path, to have a actual plan for them for their call and their goals and whatnot. In general, but that's all I got to say for right now.
Well, that's a part of the daily checklist, brother. That's a part of the daily checklist. We talk about monitoring and coaching, right? And role playing is a part of coaching, right?
It really is. And it needs to be
It
something
is.
that you really do. It might, I don't know, I kind of get excited about it now because, like, hey, man, let's do this. And it's
Okay.
funny how some of them.
It's not going anywhere. Role playing is the.
No, it's a classic way of learning, right? Doug, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I sure would like to see that we made this mandatory, that everybody does a goal-setting check-in every day. Everybody does monitoring at least one to start with, and everybody coaches every day, and everybody does once a week a formal weekly meeting.
On the daily time.
Yeah, these guys know. I need a monitoring form an hour. So that means I need 36 forms by the. When I come in the morning, I need 36 forms in my inbox.
That's what I was going to ask. When I first started, we had the monitoring phone. So are we going to be bringing those back, Principal?
Yeah, they got
Are we out of them? We're out of them.
You've been out
Yeah,
for a while.
we're going to need hundreds of them. We're
Right,
going to
you've
need
been
a
out for
whole
a while.
ream of paper.
I'll print it once this weekend.
Some box I'm on. We're doing it, man.
In a warehouse.
Yep.
And we'll talk about this later, Doug, but obviously the most critical thing you can do with that information is read it and check through it.
I promise that. I've already told them I want it in mine, and after I read it, I'm going to put it back in your box, and you guys can file it with BRJ.
Yeah.
Because he'll have feedback on there.
Yeah, in fact, I've
To the
asked
soup.
I've asked each of the soups to have the agent initial it. Not to
Yeah.
say I necessarily agree with what's on here, but that I've seen it. So
Yeah.
right.
Because that's the only way to do it. Now, guys, let me dive into something for just a second, okay? We're talking some theoretical stuff here, right? But ultimately, we want to drive sales. And this theoretical stuff becomes real world stuff when you do it, right? It's no longer theory. It becomes real world stuff, and what happens is you will start driving sales and getting results. We say in the daily checklist, you got to be consistent. Whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it, you got to do the same thing every day. Whether you feel good or you don't feel good, you got to bring it. And you got to check in with every single person who works for you. Says, how are you doing today? What are we going to do today? I've got a goal to set 100. We got to sell 100, right? We're going to sell 100 by 10 o'clock. You ready? You ready? What's your part of it? What are we going to do, right? Because our job is to drive sales, right? Every day, our job is to drive sales. Our job is not to babysit the floor. Our job is not to problem solve. Our job is not to firefight. Our job is to drive sales, coach performance, demand performance, expect performance. That's what we're supposed to do. And you got to do it every single day. And this is a fantastic way of doing it. Every day you set goals. Every day you monitor. Every day you have a weekly meeting. I commend you for having a weekly team meeting. I used to take my team meetings and it'd be real educational. You know, this week we have spiffs on this, we have spiffs on that. So-and-so, I got 92 sales yesterday. So-and-so is a, employee of the month or whatever that is, right? So all of that stuff is really good. Make sense? Okay, who else did on one-on-ones?
Just to be clear, your people will perform to what you expect from them.
Exactly.
They will do it. You have to expect it. You have to be consistent with it. But they'll do it.
That's what I was gonna, I just wanted
If
to
you
say,
inspect.
like what you were saying earlier about how you did it and then like they were not very receptive to it at first and then you kept doing it a little more and then you stopped. I think that if stuff like that and these kind of like cheerleaderish meetings where it's like how many are you gonna get starts happening more regularly, they'll become more responsive to it and it'll become part of the culture. They'll expect to come in here and have that meeting and and they'll be jazzed about it because it's gonna end up being money on their paycheck. So I think doing stuff like that all the time is
Almost real
massive
raw.
improvement. Yeah, I bet
They're real raw.
a lot of sales places are from it.
One of the concepts we talk about all the time is putting emotional currency in somebody's account. And we as sales managers, that's what we do every day. And the more we do that, the more response we get, right? Because people get to trust you. Not only your competency as a coach, but your intentions, your purpose, your true intent, If they think you're in that for you, they will not respond. Hey, I'm going to get all the glory this week. I need more stuff from you, Callie. I need a lot more stuff from you, Lindsay. I need the glory. By Friday, I got to have it. My paycheck's going to be based on it. Come on, guys. Chop, chop. They don't respond to that. They do not respond to that. It's all about me, baby. No, it's not. It's about y'all, right? So the way you get the paycheck as a sales manager is by being all about them. And when you're all about them, Callie, you trust me, right?
Yes.
We have a lot of experience, right? You trust me, right? And I've got a lot of emotional currency in it, right? And that helps me when I coach her, because even though she may not want to hear what I got to say that day, because I got so much money in that account, she'll listen to me.
When I respect you also, that's what it comes down to.
That's what, and she knows I want her to be successful. I will go out of my way to help her. She knows I care about her professionally. That's what you do. And you put that in there, and then when she's having a bad day, and I say, hey, let me speak into your life here, she's going, oh my God. And she looks to make sure I have cash. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Right? But there's nothing in there, right? You don't have that emotional deposit in there, you're not gonna get anywhere, right? And you won't get the response.
If you build a good team, they will take care of you.
Yeah, they do.
They will take care of you. When they see that you're concerned about their goals, they'll become concerned with yours. Promise.
I think one of the most amazing acts of leadership in the world is Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain did at Battle of Gettysburg on the second day, a little round top. Terry Texas Rangers had charged up the hill like 4 times that afternoon, and they were out of bullets. And Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain stands up in front of the 20th Maine. He says, "Fix bayonets." Everybody went, "Okay, fix bayonets." You know, what kind of guy do you have to be for everybody to say fix bayonets? Now, sure, they could shoot you if you don't, but that's not what got him to do that. They respected him so much. He was such a great leader that they fixed bayonets. And then he did this really fancy movement called swing the gate. And what it is you're on line like this, and the lead element over here on the left-hand side comes down like this, so that it looks like people are coming
across the field.
You know, you've been attacking uphill all day, and all of a sudden people are coming this way. And you go, oh, reinforcements, I got to get out of here. And that's what happened. And effectively won the Battle of Gettysburg. But he was such a leader when that moment came. And truly, when you think about it, Drew Harrell's theory of emotional currency, he had a lot of emotional currency in there. They had a lot of respect for him.
He wasn't even a soldier.
He was a professor of rhetoric.
Wow. Rhetoric.
Rhetoric, yeah. Professor of rhetoric. Anybody else want to talk about the one-on-ones? Okay.
I didn't either. I don't have a team and I'm not a manager, but I have to apply it to myself before I can apply it to somebody else. So I pulled my own call and I looked at my own numbers. So I pulled a couple of dish campaign calls and I listened to a girl and a guy. And I found that my undertone when I talk to a woman is not, I don't have as much pep in my step as when I talk to a guy, because I know I'm probably going to sell that guy. That's just how it works for me. I can sell guys better. And I can hear that in my voice. And I think it would be helpful on the floor if while you're doing meetings, you actually pull the call and let them hear what they sound like. Because I'm just subconsciously doing that. I don't even know.
That's a really good idea.
That is a good idea.
That's an excellent idea. And I would do that in the team meetings. And I would make it a big group thing, you know. What do you think? How'd you do? She did great. You know, whatever. It's great.
Need a section on how to have a team meeting. Tells you everything what to do.
You can get other people to have input on people's
Yeah,
goals.
for
So you like
feedback.
a group, and maybe
Exactly.
someone chimes in and be like, "Hey, I noticed you were doing this."
Well, in that way, if they've got a line that they use, it's pretty effective for something that they hear, then
Yeah.
they can throw it out there and everybody learns it. So it makes it.
Yeah. Absolutely excellent. Okay, so what are we getting out of all this? Somebody explain to me what I've been explaining. Explain it to me there.
Well, I mean, how important it is to have these things set up, to have them to feel like it's about them and it's not about you. Following the checklist as a daily Bible that you're going to incorporate into your task each day in order to get what you're looking for. And like you said, it's to drive sales. It's not here to babysit or anything like that. So, you know, I think that it's very important that we put these things in place. And that's more self, so you could only come in on Saturday and Sunday and do it. But I think that I could probably figure out a way that I'm able to incorporate that in with just a few people that I have. Sometimes it's, you know, sometimes they might be busy on a Saturday, so it'd be kind of like afraid to pull someone off the phone, and, you know, as far as dropping calls and stuff like that. But I'm gonna figure out a way to get it done.
You may have to do it in 2 6-minute segments, you know. Hey, let's do the first half of it right now. Let you get back on the phone, come back in and do it, you know. There's a lot of ways of doing it. And you could get it down to 8 or 10 minutes. It depends on who you're talking to. Matt, Dill, and I, we'd probably do it in a minute and a half, you know. You know, my deal with him would probably be, you know, what can I do for you? You know. I mean, there's some things that Matt could do to improve his self-performance, but basically, when you got a guy like that, you know. Yeah, you know, I always talk about good, better, best, and a friend of mine is an intervention cardiologist out at Seton down in Buda, Kyle, and there's a hospital down there. He's a super guy, and so anyway, he was telling me last night. He said it's really interesting, right? He said that better is the antithesis of good in cardiology. You would think good, better, best would be good, better, best no matter where you are. He said, but when you're dealing with hearts and cardiology, better is the antithesis, the negative, the opposite, the direct opposite of good, because if it's good, leave it alone. Right? It could be better, but the thing is, he said, you know, you change a med, you think would drive the results up in a positive way, and something you had no earthly clue would happen. Just that one extra molecule of medication went, whoop, and now you got to go, what happened, and run around screaming, and you know. So good is, but in sales, good, better, best. Right? If you're good, what do you want to be better? What do you want to do? You want to be better, right? And you always want to be what?
The best.
The best. Okay. So what did you get out of this today, Doug?
Excuse me. Do. Don't talk. Do.
Make a commitment to do this, guys. Make a commitment to this. And here, let me tell you why. It should be mandatory, only because it's in everybody's self-interest, right? But guess what? It's in your self-interest, right? It's how you can be a better sales manager, better sales supervisor. Do it consistently. Guess what we're going to do next? We're going to do a monthly meeting. It's different than a weekly.
Daily, weekly, monthly.
Yeah, and I got an annual one and a semi-annual, right? I meet with everybody the first week in January. Everybody's what I do. I was busy as heck the first week in January. And I'd have my budget already for the year, and I would fit everybody into that budget. I'd meet with everybody. And we'd do a plan. What are you going to make this year? Here's what you made last year. Here's what you look like ranked with all the salespeople in the company. Where would you like to be? How much money would you like to make? And then we dig down and make an annual plan. And we say, okay, here's what you got to do to increase. You made $60,000 last year. You want to make 85 this year? Here's how you do it. You got to have extra 2 sales a week or whatever that is, right? I set that up. That's an annual thing. That's a totally different thing, right? And then all through the year, like I came back to Cali, we come back to how we doing on it. Remember you saying, I said, how are we doing on our annual plan? Are you where you wanted to be? She said, no, I'm a little inconsistent. I said, okay, right? And then off you go, right? So daily, weekly, monthly, semi-annually, annually, right? And at some point, Jerry is going to get up here and talk about hourly.
No,
right, Jerry?
That is right.
Jerry the microman.
All right. Okay, any questions, guys?
No.
All right. Here's the discussion. If you had the meetings, right? How did it go? How did it feel? Did it accomplish the goal? Focus on sales? Was it positive? Did the rep receive and respond to the message? All right. So here's your homework. Okay? Get your cell phone out or figure out some way of doing it on the phone and record all your one-on-one meetings if you can, if you have enough room. If you don't have enough room, record one because we're going to let's do it next week. Okay? Make sense? Be prepared to share audio recording with SLI class. Okay? Make sense? Does that sound good to you, Mr. Manager?
Let's do it.
Thank you for being here, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.